So welcome back to Playing Away. We're looking ahead to our trip this weekend to Congleton Town, and from Congleton Town, we're joined by Max. Max, thank you very much for taking the time to join us on Playing Away today. First of all, tell me a bit about you and your role within Congleton Town.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. It's a pleasure to be on. I am primarily just a fan at Congleton Town. I'm 23 and have pretty much been a fan for that entire time. Thanks to my dad and granddad taking me along for all those years. So yeah, primarily just a fan. I don't really have too much to do otherwise. I do a little segment on our Congleton Town podcast, doing a away day segment. So just kind of recording what's going on. At the away games, my thoughts on where we are, how we played, and anything generic that happens on the day. We've had some odd stuff before, burst tires in the car and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, more or less just a fan.
Perfect, thank you. And as a fan, I suppose last season was very positive. You came third in the table after the competitive season ended. Obviously, you went on to unfortunately lose the playoff semi-finals. From your point of view, just talk me through how last season went.
Yeah, it was crazy, really. It was beyond any expectations, especially at the start of the season. It's our first time at this level in quite a long time, our first promotion since before I was even born. We got relegated to step five the year I was born, and we'd been there ever since. So, to our first year back at that level to pretty much go as far as we could get in the playoff final was unbelievable. A lot of us fans said at the start of the season we'd been more than happy just staying up. That was kind of the goal, to remain in the division, do as well as we could. Beyond that, even towards the end of the season, when we were really up there, we were still celebrating when we were mathematically safe. So yeah, the fact that we got as far as we did was incredible. It was, unfortunate that we missed out to a very good Hednesford side in that playoff final. We were underdogs before that game even began, and there's quite a bit in the game that certainly didn't go our way. But it was a season to be massively proud of. You could tell the players and fans, everyone, even at the end of that game, as much as we were disappointed, there's a real sense of pride. Everyone singing along, giving the players the backing. And yeah, just some really brilliant moments throughout the season as well. You can look back and pick from, especially from a fan perspective, and memories that you take from it. Yeah, we didn't go up. Whether the club was even ready to go up, that was another story. But overall, from a fan perspective, it was a season of dreams, really.
And looking, as you say, at sort of the club's sort of progression up the pyramid, your second season now at step four. You've played in the North West Counties. You moved over to the Midland League, which sort of your gateway as such into step four. At that season, you won that division with sort of quite conviction. Last season, you had a good sort of consistent squad and players that have played for the club for several years now. Is that sort of part of the success that you've been able to, I suppose, keep that consistent group over your sort of step five transition into step four?
Massively. I think it's a huge part, the consistency within the squad and the management and a lot of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes has been huge. The players all know each other. It seems like we've got a really good dressing room. They all get along really well. Consistency and kind of the playing style and everything like that. And our squad is a lot of local lads. A lot of lads from in and around Congleton. There's probably not too many that live more than 20 minutes, 25 minutes from the ground. I think that means you have a real identity behind your club, and it's something that certainly the fans can get behind. So yeah, keeping that consistency throughout was massive, and we've brought in, a few since then, lads who've come into the side and done well as well. So I think there's been a good mix of maintaining the core, but then also improving around that too.
A very sort of positive period in the time of the club, as you mentioned. in the answer to the first question, you got relegated to step five before you're even born. Talk me through, I suppose, how the club has got to where it has today from sort of the start of um, its existence, because even probably over the past 2 or 3 seasons, it's developed to sort of being a big name at step four.
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things, and obviously I can only speak on what I've seen personally. But you're talking about recent times there. We mentioned the consistency before. I think that's a huge part. Obviously, Duffy has been with us for a good while now, managing and playing as well. And I think he's built a squad now and a group of players that he clearly trusts a lot. We're playing very similar teams from game to game. So that's a big part of it, having that in the squad. But then also what's gone on behind the scenes, I think it's been quite a positive cycle of stuff. We had an integration with one of the youth sides in Congleton. So beforehand, it was just kind of you had Congleton Town Football Club and kind of a reserve team, and then the youth sides were separate. But recently, there was kind of a merger between one of the youth sides and Congleton Town. So all the junior sides now play under the Congleton Town badge, and I think that's brought quite a lot to the club and probably also why we've seen a bit of an increase in the attendances. You have young kids now who are kind of aspiring and looking up to these lads who are playing for Congleton, and maybe beyond that as well if they want to go further. But they can be mascots at the ground and stuff, and you can tell that we're all really excited. So I think that played a part. And then we're very fortunate to have a brilliant collection of volunteers at Congleton, the Wednesday Club, as they're called, and yeah, a real dedicated group of people who put a lot of time and effort into, well, making it possible for us people who are just fans to go and watch the game in the first place. And that's something I'm massively appreciative of. And I know a lot of the fans are as well. So that's all kind of culminated, especially in the last few years, into something that's been growing and growing. And we've kind of been reinvesting back into the club itself as a result of that success. So we've got kind of some new facilities that we've had. And yeah, it's been really positive, and as someone who's been watching for a good while, it's been lovely to see.
And in terms of the sort of the community aspects that you mentioned there with the volunteers and the junior teams that the club has got since you sort of had that junior merger, how big of a place does the football club have within the wider town of Congleton?
It's grown exponentially over the last few years. It's been quite incredible to see, really. You know, 4 or 5 years ago, we were probably getting average gates of 150 to 200. And that wasn't bad. That was no means a bad thing. But in recent times, that seems to have grown and grown and grown. Averaging at least 700 probably last year and the last couple of years. And then we've had games where we've much been at full capacity. And there's just a buzz about it in the town. A lot of people say, everyone's always asking you, "Oh, you going to the town game on Saturday?" Talking about the game. As I said, a lot of the players are local, so you might see them out and about and stuff. You get chatting to them. They're in the clubhouse after the game. I think there's a real positive atmosphere and feel about the club in the town, and yeah, hopefully that continues to grow. Obviously, with a lot of that, a part of that will be due to the success as well that we've had. People enjoy watching a winning side, but we have kept winning, and that has kept people coming. And yeah, hopefully that can continue.
And looking, I suppose, at that community aspect, you spoke about the volunteers. That could only be something that's positive for the club, that you can, I suppose, beyond the main shopping high street in Congleton, and you might bump into Richard Duffy or one of the players or another fan or volunteer, and you've got that, I suppose, common nature about you that you all watch and support and are pushing for Congleton to be the best they can.
Yeah, no, like I said, it's fantastic. That's one of the great things about non-league football, isn't it? It's all very close knit, and that you can know the players personally and the management personally and stuff. It's not like Premier League teams where they're realistically strangers. These are real people that you can talk to and engage with, especially if you go into the clubhouse after the game. They're always up for a chat, and that's anyone. Because the local lads, you know them. And yeah, it's brilliant. I love that aspect of it.
Now, at the time of recording this, we're recording this on Monday, the 18th of August. You've won one, drawn one, lost one out of your opening three competitive games. How do you evaluate that at this early stage in the season?
Yeah, it's a pretty standard town start to the season, really. I think that's 4 years in a row. Now we've lost our opening league game. But the last 3 seasons have probably been three of our best. So if that's anything to go by, we're certainly off to a good start in that regard. But yeah, no, I think in terms of how we've played, we've been played well in the games. The first game against Sporting Council that we lost, we went down 3-1. That probably wasn't a full true reflection of the game. I thought we had much the better chances in that game. But on the day they took their chances, and I guess that wins football matches, so you can't be too upset about that one. On another day, we'd probably go on to win that game. Whereas the Mossley game last midweek, we may be slightly fortunate to come away with a point. Obviously, a late equaliser. But it shows that this team's been there and done that a lot before. There's been quite a lot of games where we've been scoring late goals. That's a credit to the mentality of the players, and the fitness as well. Never say die attitude. That team certainly got that, and especially at home over the last few years, you never feel that we're out of games. And then yeah, Saturday FA Cup, that was a real solid performance against Paddington at home, 3-0, comfortable, really victory. We were in control of the game. And they're a side that are doing really well currently. I know in the northwest counties, and 4 for 4. So it's no easy game or anything. I know it's a division below, but they're clearly a good side. And yeah, we did what we did to beat them. Obviously, we've got Stafford Rangers tomorrow. I think that's going to be a tough game, especially going away there on a Tuesday night. We lost last season at their place, and they're a decent side. They've got a good manager in there, I'm aware. So yeah, it's going to be tough. And then obviously you boys on Saturday, and it doesn't get any easier.
And I suppose you said there it's a typical start to the season. I guess you've only you can only build from where you've started, and from what you say about the game against Padiham at the weekend, you've got plenty to build on.
Yeah, no, certainly. I think it's sort of been the case in the last few years that we're missing a couple of lads at the start of the season. As we mentioned before, these are normal people. They go on holiday in the summer holidays. That's just the way it is. So I think especially last week against Sporting Calcio, we had probably 3, 4, 5 players that would normally be in the starting 11 missing. So obviously that's be positive when more of those start coming back into the team. Our top scorer from last year, Max, he obviously suffered a horrible injury in the playoff final last at the end of last season, which has meant he's missing the first few games this season, which is obviously a bit of a blow. But from what I'm hearing, he's slowly getting back to full fitness, and yeah, hopefully we can get him back soon.
I suppose you've partially already answered this next question, but in terms of footballing style and the way that you've started the season, what can the Bury fans expect to see from a Congleton Town side?
Well, it's interesting. I think that's been one of our biggest positives in recent years, in that we're a very adaptable team in the way that we play, depending on the opposition, the conditions, who we've got available. I think that has been one of our biggest strengths. Duffy and the management team are clearly very in the know. With the tactics, because we've played quite a few big games in recent years against teams in higher divisions going away, and you kind of have to set up to defend in those instances, and build from a solid base, and that's something that we've been really good at. But then we can also play some football and dominate teams on the ball and outwork teams and outrun teams. So sometimes you never know what you're going to get, and potentially that's probably what's been difficult for opposing managers to work out about us. We can be very direct at times and just try and get the ball up the pitch as quick as possible, but we're also comfortable at playing out and trying to break you down that way. We're a physical side. We've got a lot of legs, a lot of energy, and a lot of fitness, especially in midfield. No matter the scoreline, our lads won't stop running for 90 minutes, and that's something that we as fans are always proud of. Um, yeah, it will be a tough test for any side, especially at home this year. It's never easy coming down to Booth Street. So yeah, you'll be in for a tough one, hopefully.
And you mentioned how adaptable the squad can be in terms of individuals. Who are the Bury fans looking out for?
Well, if you're going off this season, I think Dan Needham's been involved in every goal. Or so he was telling me the other day. Anyway, he's provided the goal or the assist for every competitive one that we've scored this season. He's by trade probably a right winger, but we intend to kind of playing him just off the striker in the hole. This year, Pete Williams in midfield is always a threat. He's very creative, not afraid to play the Hollywood pass. Him and Ethan Hartsford in midfield, like I said before, just such an engine in the team. Up and down, don't stop all game, don't give anyone else any time on the ball. Um, so yeah, I'd say that them three in particular look out for. We're a very young squad in general. A lot of young lads in the team, good amount of pace, but even though they are young lads, they've had a lot of experience with us over the last few years. So yeah, I think it'll be a tough game.
And sort of, there's been plenty of games sort of between Bury and Congleton in the sort of Bury's non-league era so far. There was quite a competitive game in the FA Cup um, last season. I suppose to flip the previous question on its head, what are you expecting to see from Bury?
Yeah, I mean that was it's a bit of a drubbing at the start of last season. I just remember your left winger absolutely tearing us apart. I think he got a hat trick that day. No, listen, there's been a lot of talk, and I think there's a lot of expectancy from for Bury this year. A lot of the predictions and stuff that I've been seeing on social media as you win in this league, HMS or something or other that your fans seem to say. But yeah, I don't know what to expect. Obviously, we played last year, but your squad maybe doesn't quite have the consistency that we've had, which makes it a little bit more difficult to predict. I'm expecting a tough game. I think you'll be a good side, a side that probably wants to be on the ball a lot. From what I've heard, you've been creating quite a few chances so far this year, so we're gonna have to be at our best. But at the same time, like I said, there's plenty for you boys to watch out for from our side.
And off the pitch, again, the ground, I suppose, will have developed over time, sort of with the club's progression through non-league, and it's even done so over the past sort of 2 or 3 weeks. You've had an installation of a new seated stand on the dugout side of the ground. Just, I suppose, for Bury fans that maybe didn't attend the FA Cup fixture last year or haven't been before, paint me a bit of a picture of your ground and what the Shakers fans can expect.
Yeah, it's a proper non-league local ground. It's a ground that is right in the heart of the town, which I think personally is brilliant. I think that encourages more people to come. And in recent times, there's been a lot of, as I mentioned before, reinvestment into the ground and the facilities to try and improve the fan experience. We've had a new club shop up the top end. Maybe the Bury fans might not be going in there, but and then there's been a new kind of food and drinks outlet. We've got a good bar. As you mentioned there, we've had a new stand on the far side of the pitch. Yeah, I really like it as an only ground. Obviously, that's quite biased. But I think it's kind of got everything that you need at this, like maybe not a car park, but apart from that, everything that you need, good food and drink. Do recommend the steak pie, and yeah, it's good. I think it's going to be a really tough fixture. I think it should be a good atmosphere. Obviously, bank holiday weekend should be plenty of people in, and yeah, it'll be a good game.
away from sort of our two clubs for the moment, this division has probably seen its competitiveness levels rise over probably the last sort of 3 to 4 seasons. You're now into the second season of playing at the MPL West. As expected, it's going to be another competitive league this season. Away from Bury and Congleton, who are you looking at in terms of clubs that are going to give you a game and are going to be competitive towards the end of the season?
Yeah, it's a very competitive league. As you said, there was a lot of times we said, especially last season, it seemed like anyone could beat anyone. Um, especially if you take out a few that got relegated, it was massively competitive. The table, if you look at it, the amount of points between each team was really minimal. That attests to the quality of the division. It's hard to go on too much in non-league in terms of predictions, obviously, and other clubs you can kind of only go on what you've seen or played against. From what I've been hearing, I think Runcorn and Linnets have made quite a few signings, and I think they've had quite a good start to the division. I always look at Stalybridge Celtic as a team, with real pedigree, especially at this level. And I think, you can't write out the teams that were also up there last year, like Chase Town, Vauxhall Motors. Avro as well. I know you had a, tough game against them at the weekend. So yeah, I think it's always going to be competitive. There's no easy games, really, that old cliche. But yeah, we'll see how we get on.
Now, this next question probably goes right up your street, given what you said at the intro about sort of reviewing um, various away days that you've got. But away from our two clubs, which away game are you looking forward to the most this season?
Ooh, that's a good question. In terms of the grounds that I went to last year, obviously quite a few new ones that we went to. I really enjoyed Chasetown as a ground. It is an artificial surface that they've got there, but it's a really modern new one, so it just looked really pristine. They've got some great facilities there. Mentioned before, Stalybridge Celtic, I think is a really nice ground. It's quite funny actually. Gig Lane's going to be the only new ground that I go to this year. We've been to all the other ones, so yeah, I'm sure that'll be an experience. It's right at the end of the season, I think, or towards the end of the season, isn't it, that one? So yeah, maybe he'll be given as a guard of honor. But yeah, I like most of the grounds. There's certainly a few better than others. Going away to Kidsgrove always good as well, bit of a local rivalry for us. That's Bank Holiday Monday. So yeah.
And this time and this weekend, especially of the season's always a good one for non-league football. So maybe if there's, I don't know, a non-Bury fan or non-Congleton fan watching this, what's your message to them in terms of how would you give a sort of a pitch as such to giving non-league football a try?
Oh well, I think non-league football is brilliant. You just have to look at the. I think it's becoming more and more people are coming down to non-league, especially when you look at the prices and the costs to go to what is the top level football now. It's nowhere near as accessible as it once was, but non-league football certainly is. The cost to get into the ground. You can bring family down, kids down. You can have a drink watching the match if you want to, which you can't do at that level. See some friends and you're watching good quality football. Especially like I mentioned before, if you're from Congleton, you're watching a local side. A local lads, a team that you can properly get behind, that play for the club, play for the badge, work hard against, a Bury side. If we're doing an advertisement for this match, that have kind of been reborn and hopefully hoping, I assume, to progress back up the divisions with clearly a good side. And yeah, if you look at the previous fixtures, I think one win, one draw, one loss in the previous three, and some really good games within that as well. So yeah, should be a cracker.
And just finally, probably a very standard question for a chat like this, but what's your score prediction for Saturday?
Oh, I never really do score predictions. I don't like it. I'm probably more of a pessimist than I should be, to be honest, because most of the time previously watching Town, it wasn't the best. No, I think it'll be a close game. I think the first goal in the game is going to be crucial in terms of setting the tone. I will go 2 on Congleton, late winner.
Well, I'm sure many people will take the drama, probably more for the neutral and Congleton fans. That one there. But Max, thank you very much for joining us on Playing Away, and all the best for the weekend.
Yeah, you too. Thanks much for having me, and I'll yeah, see you soon.